What is up, my fellow golf ball addicts? Welcome back to the channel. We are doing a retest today. We are doing a retest of the Wilson Triad, something I've had a ton of requests to do for over 2 years now. So let's dive right in. All right, so as I said, I'm super excited to retest this golf ball. You know, long story short, 2 years ago, I picked up this golf ball. There was a lot of hype around it. Wilson came out with this, $39.99 value tour ball, and a lot of big name publications were really raving about it, talking about how great it was, how consistent it was, how well designed it was. And, I'm a big Wilson fan. I think they're extremely underrated, especially in the golf ball department for sure. And I just had to get my hands on one. So I went out, found one immediately, came home, and just didn't have that good of luck with it. The numbers weren't that good. I wasn't a big fan of the feel. And like I tell you guys all the time on the channel, the numbers are the numbers. There's very little opinion on this channel. I test the golf ball, here's the numbers, based on these numbers, here's who I think it's for. It's that kind of stuff. But didn't have a lot of success with it, and immediately I had tons of people telling me, hey, I think you made a mistake. Like, this golf ball is really awesome. I use it, and that has continued for 2 years. I still get comments to this day on that video of, hey, I disagree with this review. I thought it was an amazing golf ball. I think you need to retest it. And every comment that I've had like that, I've said, hey, I'm going to retest it. And that's why we're here, because we're going to retest it. So let's go ahead and dive in. Let's talk about the golf ball a little bit. So first of all, it is a 3-piece urethane golf ball, of course. It has around an 85, 86 compression, which is on the firmer side for sure. My worries is that it's going to be a little too firm for me. I don't prefer my golf balls that firm usually. I like them softer. But hey, you never know. Golf ball compression isn't quite what it used to be. It doesn't mean the same thing, so it could just be nothing. All right, so price-wise, this golf ball retails at $39.99 a dozen, which actually is already a really great value, especially when you consider you're getting, a more traditional, high-end AAA ball maker. That's a good price. A lot of them are going to $42.99 a dozen or $45 a dozen. The $39.99 is already a good deal, but right now, across the board everywhere, and for a while, you've been able to get them for $34.99 a dozen, and that's a really great deal. I mean, honestly, that's a great value. That's what a lot of these, Vice golf balls are and stuff. So if this golf ball can hang, it's a real contender, and it's not, it's not a just direct-to-consumer model. This can be purchased almost anywhere. One thing I really love is Wilson kind of advertised. If you go and read the page on the Triad on their website, they talk about this patented balancing technology they've now found where the golf ball balances itself out. And basically, long story short, you get past all the science mumbo gumbo, it's supposed to mean that the quality of the golf ball as far as being balanced, having any defects, it's not supposed to happen. It's not even really supposed to be possible, which sounds like a pipe dream, but I actually did some research. I went to the My Golf Spy review, and they actually had 0% golf balls deformed, 0% not round. I mean, they said that every golf ball across the board was perfect. So maybe Wilson's onto something here. I mean, like I said, it wouldn't surprise me. I think Wilson's very underrated when it comes to that department. So let's go ahead and dive into the design of the golf ball, something that Wilson is really, really good at. I mean, really good at. Looking at the logo there on the front, it's so classy. It's sophisticated. I love what Wilson does. I love the font they use. I love the crest they have up top, the black and white. I love the number font. Wilson I never get tired of looking at a Wilson golf ball. I just don't. I love their logo. I love how they do all that. It really gives me a lot of confidence personally when I'm standing over it. I think it's a really premium designed golf ball. It's definitely that. If you come around on the side here for the alignment tool, I love the font for the Triad. I mean, that looks BA, I'm not gonna lie. And then if you look at the actual alignment tool itself, now this is interesting because I am usually not a fan of a couple things. I'm not usually a fan of arrows, and I'm not usually a fan of ones that get smaller as they go on. It usually just kind of throws off my depth perception of where I'm aiming. Not the case here, though. If there was anything I had to say about it, is I wish the Triad in the middle was maybe blacked out so it was a little easier to see. But alignment tool-wise, you can actually see that pretty good. I mean, for being what it is, I wouldn't have anticipated it actually helping my alignment when I first saw it. But when you get out there, it actually does. So I give Wilson a lot of credit. It feels really good on the outside. The coating feels really good. It feels like it would really stick. It would really grip. It's just a well-designed golf ball. Like I said, Wilson's really underrated in that department. So let's get out to the chipping and putting green and let's see how it does out there. All right, Wilson Triad here. Start with a nice little, get the wrist. Okay, so good reaction. I hit it way too hard. That's way too hard for the first one. Beautiful, really low, really spinny. That's a tour-like response. That's exactly what I would expect. Wow, really great stopping power. I mean, the reaction I just got's incredible. Wow, man, it's hard to get too much better than that. Okay, so far, you know, phenomenal sound, phenomenal feel. I mean, chipping with this golf ball is a pleasure so far. It really is. Low and spinny, ball checks up incredible. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. I mean, I can't imagine getting too much more checkup than that. There's very few balls that have that level of feel, balance, responsiveness, checkup. I mean, you name it. I'm just so impressed. All right, so starting off with the mallet putter here, you know, I'm interested to see how this feels. It had such a great feel with the wedges. Very nice. Little dead sounding, but it is a thick mallet putter, so I expect that. Really good roll. I love the roll. You know, that technology Wilson's using, whatever their balance technology is, you can tell. We're gonna go ahead and validate the parking here with the mallet, but I just, you know, again, really phenomenal, 10 out of 10 true roll. Oh, just beautiful. Yeah, really good roll. I mean, really good feel. It is kind of dead. There's not a loud click. I'm actually impressed. That's incredible. That's so far past the hole. That's 5 feet past the hole. All right, so now let's try the blade here, the blade putter. I expect the feel to be a little louder, a little clickier. Nope, not at all actually. That is very consistent. It feels exactly like the mallet, sounds exactly like the mallet. Wow. If you're someone who likes a more traditional, like little click when you have the feedback, you're not gonna like this. It's more dead, muted. But boy, it's so consistent. It's so true to the roll. Hard not to be impressed. All right, it's really hard not to be impressed. It really is. The feel, really good. Wedges, 10 out of 10 feel. You know, putter, might not be for everybody, but 10 out of 10, you know, as far as feel. Really consistent, really true roll. Amazing checkup with the wedges. I mean, I'm trying to even split hairs and find something wrong with it, and I just can't. You know, if I had to come up with something, I would say that, you know, if you mishit it, there isn't much forgiveness around, you know, the green as far as with your chips and stuff. But here's the other thing. Most tour golf balls have very little, if any, forgiveness. This actually has some, so even that's better than most tour balls out there. So I just don't have any negatives. I don't have anything I can really say negative around the green with this ball. Consistency is key in a lot of this. A lot of these tour players are looking for, you know, a lot of you on the channel have been talking about, you know, hey, balance the golf ball, see if they're balanced, see if they're consistent, see if they're, this is probably the best example I've seen of something that is just really, really well designed, really well made. And I mean, gosh, if you're someone who really values a lot of checkup, a lot of feel, a lot of consistency around the green, my goodness. I mean, this and the Pro V1, that's probably the two standards right now I can think of. Now, I haven't really done that test with like the Wilson model, which is their, you know, higher up end of their golf ball. That's their most expensive tour line golf ball. But I'm definitely going to be when I retest it because I want to see that. But for the golf ball that is in this price range, right now $34.99, it doesn't on sale. I just can't imagine finding something with this level of accuracy and consistency for that price. Bravo, Wilson, bravo. All right, so I do want to talk about the feel of this golf ball across all clubs. You know, like I said at the beginning of the video, 85, 86 compression, it's definitely firm. It's not loud, it's not a thwack, it doesn't have that traditional sound and traditional feedback. It's not that type of golf ball. It's more of a muted, you know, more, I call it dead usually, but maybe dead's a bad word. It's more of a muted type feel. But you hit it in the center and yeah, you know it, it'll come off. It does have a little spring to it, but it's not a lot. You know, it's not a lot of these, you know, more value golf balls I've tested where it feels like a rocket coming off. Not the case here. It does feel a little dead, more kind of like a Titleist ball in a way. Titleist has their own specific feel, but if I had to kind of give it a comp to anything, that's what it's like. It's kind of this dead feeling that's really trying to put consistency over wow factor, if you know what I mean. So let's go ahead and get into these numbers now. Starting with the 50-yard pitch, we have 7,592 RPM spin. That is just slightly below average. I was hoping for a little bit more there, but you know, it is what it is. And I will say that it wasn't a matter, sometimes I come up here and when I'm talking about the 50-yard pitch, I'll say it's a forgiveness issue where if you really hit it pure in the wedge, you'll get 8,000, 9,000 RPM, but if you miss hit it, you're at 5,000. Not the case here. Everything just hovered around 7,000 to 7,500. That's just what it was. It was actually pretty decently consistent. It just didn't get a ton of spin off the 50-yard pitch, and who knows, that could be the wedge I'm using. It's a tailor-made mill grind 4. I mean, that's a really good wedge, but it's not the most spinningest wedge on the market, so it's okay. I wish it had been a little bit more, but it's not a deal breaker. 7,500, 7,600 is still going to stop on the green pretty much right where it lands, so no big deal at all. Let's go ahead and go into the smash factor of the 9-iron 1.26, which is really, really good. One of the best I've tested, so I love to see that. 131.9 is awesome 9-iron distance. 132.3 total, awesome. Love to see that. 101.5, amazing ball speed. That's awesome. And 7,095 RPM, which is awesome for a 9-iron full swing. That's definitely above average. So really good numbers there, off to a really great start. And what I noticed is I actually struck the 9-iron really well. There wasn't a lot of mishits in there, and if they were very minor. So off to a great start. Let's go ahead and go into the 7-iron now. Let's see if this continues. 1.32 on your smash factor, which is, you know, it's okay. It's not great, but as you can see there, the numbers took a little dip. 153.8, 155.5, 111.2, all those are average across the board, and 56.20, which is slightly below average on spin, and then it launched again low like the 9-iron did, 17.2, so it launched pretty low. So, okay, so those numbers took a hit. Those numbers were more average, and this was kind of my fear, and it happens all the time with these firmer golf balls like the Tour golf balls, Pro V1, TP5, Wilson Triad, things like that. What happens is that when you get into this Tour line, I preach it all the time, forgiveness on golf balls. And I know I'm getting a lot of comments right now because the channel's been doing well of, that doesn't exist. You know, you're out of your mind. Golf ball forgiveness, that's crazy. If you hit it good, you do. If you don't, you're not going to get good results. It's just not the case. You know, I have 4 years of data. It's not the case. There are golf balls I miss hit and I lose 5 yards. Awesome. There's some golf balls I miss hit, I lose 10 yards. Awesome. There was a 7-iron strike where I hit it a little off the toe with this one. Just a little. I felt it in the hands pretty good. It was just a little off center. I lost 41 yards. It was not a duff. It was not a top. It was as far as angle of attack and everything, it was a good strike. It was just off the toe. And that was very consistent. I had to delete a lot of shots, 4 or 5, off this because the mishits were so egregious that they affected the scores. And my fear is that when I tested it the first time, I probably didn't delete all those. I probably deleted some of them, and that's why the numbers ended up not so good. Now that we're 2 years here in the future, I know a little bit more. I do my channel a little bit differently as far as how I delete those mishits. But long story short, this golf ball doesn't have very much forgiveness. It is going to be for an advanced player. It's going to be for someone who strikes irons really, really well and really consistently. 5 handicap or lower. You know, I haven't even continued yet, but that's why I push this so hard. You know, we'll see what the 5 hybrid is. We'll see what the driver is. We'll go from there. Let's see how these numbers are. Now that I'm actually getting to clubs where I compress the golf ball a lot better, woods in particular, let's see if it does, you know, let's see if it really comes off the club well now. 1.41 on your smash factor. That is the best smash factor I've ever had with the hybrid. So as you can see, golf ball's compressing really well now that I'm swinging 90 mile an hour with a wood. 179.3, 181.6, 124, really good numbers there across the board. I love the spin, 51.51, that's average. Actually, all those numbers are right in line with what my averages are, which is really good, and that smash factor being really high up is helping too. My swing speed is actually a little lower than it's been in the past, so I had to slow my hybrid down a little bit. So actually, these numbers would be in the good to very good range if you do it relative. 16 with a mid-launch. Yeah, that's really good. I mean, like I said, you know, it's 2-3 mile an hour difference compared to what I was used to swinging with my hybrid. I brought it down because I was hitting my hybrid too far. So if you put that into perspective, the fact that I'm getting average numbers with less of a swing speed, awesome. And that smash factor tells you everything you need to know. So really good stats there. Let's go ahead and dive into the driver. Let's see how that is. Now my driver swing speed is still the same. It's around that 98 mark. We are looking at a 1.46 smash factor, which is really, really good. 229.2, I gained 7 yards on my carry from my average. I gained 6 yards on the distance. 143.8, that is an excellent, excellent ball speed. 2372, amazing spin number right there. And it launched mid, 14.5. Excellent numbers. And, you know, I thought that would be the case. You know, once we get to the hybrid, once we get to the driver, I figured that they would be really good numbers just because, like I said, firmer golf balls, that's how it works. Usually with firmer golf balls, the short irons don't do so good. The mid irons usually do okay. And then when you get to the long, you know, hybrids, woods, all that stuff, they really perform phenomenally. Now, I will say I don't know why the 9 iron did so great. That's awesome. You know, I don't know why it just blew my socks off. Maybe I had an amazing day striking it. But here's what I will say. Let's get into the durability, and then after that, I'll give you my closing thoughts. So, durability-wise, hard not to be impressed. 80 to 90 shots, still feels 100%. There's no scuffing. You know, there's a couple marks from maybe where it hit the net or whatever, but I absolutely trust this golf ball. I think it can continue to go. I'd give it a 9 out of 10 probably durability. I mean, it's really, really good. It might even be a 9.5, a 10. You know, I don't know. It's really good. No scrapes, no cuts, really just some dirt marks that can be cleaned up. But I'm really impressed with that, especially after 15, 20 wedge shots in wet conditions. You know, that's a big deal. Yeah, so final thoughts. You know, we retested this. Did it do better? Did the Wilson Triad do better than it did 2 years ago? Absolutely. My opinion now has changed on it a lot. We've grown a lot since then. I've tested probably 60 golf balls since then. I mean, we've grown as a channel. But here is the thing. This golf ball is for advanced players, 110%. No ifs, no ands, no buts about it. It is an extremely accurate, extremely consistent golf ball that has no forgiveness. They are intending this golf ball to be for guys who are going to strike the iron pure 9 out of 10 times. And that one mishit you have is a slight mishit, like a little bit off. Guys like me who I'm around a high digit single handicap, I strike the iron okay, 6 out of 10 times probably, but there's no way I'd feel comfortable using this. I just couldn't, because those 4 mishits I have are going to cost me strokes, 110%. I also do believe the golf ball, with that compression number being firm, I do believe it's going to be for the 100-mile-an-hour crowd, 100-plus-mile-an-hour crowd. If you're 100 mile an hour with the driver, 105, 110, I think you'll absolutely get some really good results out of this. But again, it just dives into that really good scratch golfer mentality. You need to be able to strike the ball really, really well. You need to be able to swing 100-plus-mile-an-hour. That's going to be an advanced player, 100%. So I've seen a lot of people on the channel be like, yeah, I'm a 20 handicap and I'm 80 years old and I play the Wilson Triad. I'm not saying the driver wouldn't do you any good, but I will say that your irons, you're missing out. You're missing out on some spin. You're missing out on some distance. You're missing out on some forgiveness. It's really hurting your game a lot. So I'm going to stick to my ground here, and I am going to say, if you're looking for a, tour-like golf ball that has, amazing consistency, amazing stats, really good balancing, this technology Wilson has, really good consistency like that, this is a great value. $34.99 right now, $39.99 is their normal price. I don't know how long they'll be on sale for. Maybe they're getting ready to come out with another one. But it's hard not to be impressed with that. I mean, there's a lot of guys I know that are, Pro V1 loyalists and guys who really want. Actually, a lot of you have commented that you don't care about price recently. There's been a lot of newcomers to the channel who have said, hey, I don't care as much about price. I really want something consistent and that balances and there's no defects and blah, blah. Well, here you go. You can't beat that. For $34.99 and having 0% wrong, 0% not round, my goodness. I mean, that's really, really good. So even though it's not for me, it does have a crowd. It does have a market. And when it is played by that market, I think it's probably one of the best there is out there. Guys, as always, keep watching and keep saving and keep learning. Until next time.